Kingdom Hearts. Easy on the wallet, but is it worth your time?
We risk upsetting Disney lawyers to find out.
Here on Broke and Gaming.
Welcome, absolutely everyone, to Broke and Gaming. I'm your host, Shea.
I am your other host, Dan, and we have reached our final stop on our AAA Summer Series. And here to talk about that, we welcome back to the show, Timmy, aka Ferk03. How's it going, Tim?
Oh, not bad. Good to be back, guys.
Good to have you back. You know how this works. What have you been playing recently, Timmy?
Well, on a small note, I finally got my platinum in Jedi Survivor.
Madness. Absolute madness.
That one took a little longer than it should have, but I have been playing the absolute hell out of Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because when we had Aaron on the show, we touched upon it a little bit. You, like, Timmy and I see each other fairly often in real life, and you've been giving me the most wild updates on things going on in that game.
It really is the true D&D experience. They just let you do whatever you want as long as the game systems will allow for it. So I read up on a new fan-made class last night that people are referring to as the Barrelmancer.
Love it.
So okay. you are able to pick up and store anything in this game that's movable in your inventory as long as you have the strength to carry it. And so, like, there's a goblin camp pretty early on that's pretty expansive. And so this dude just loaded up with exploding barrels, daisy-chained them together, and one-shot this entire camp. And then the video they put together, they set it to the 1812 Overture, which also felt really appropriate for Dungeons & Dragons.
What choice do you even have at that point?
Like, we got the owlbear from the top rope. People found a damage thing where the owlbear could jump from really high places and, like, one-shot bosses. It's all beautiful, and you have to think so far outside of the box that normally video games put you in to think of these things.
Like D&D,
it's just amazing.
That's awesome.
I honestly cannot understate how good the game is. This feels like one of those once-in-a-generation games. And I don't mean console generation. I mean once a generation.
Wow. That's... okay.
That's pretty high praise there, Timmy.
Yeah. You heard it here first. Best game of any of our lifetimes.
Ever. Lex said Tears of the Kingdom was the last game ever made. He was incorrect, apparently.
I don't know. Can Link one-shot Ganon with a bunch of daisy-chain barrels? Because
that might actually be something Link can do.
That might be true, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah. I mean, Link can build a Gundam.
That's... yeah.
Man, I just need to fucking buy this game, huh?
The difference is that Baldur's Gate 3 will punish you for committing war crimes. Tears of the Kingdom will not.
Ah, okay. Well, that's an important distinction.
I was gonna say you've roped Dan in with the mention of crimes, so
yeah, my ears immediately perked up.
So much Korok torture.
Jesus Christ! All right, what? I know what else you've been playing, so we'll get into that in due time. And for Shea and I, of course, we'll talk about what we've been playing next episode, because we've got some Tom Clancy updates for everyone.
Despite all odds.
Yeah. But we have just a fever dream of a game to get to today, so we should probably dive right in, and we will start, as we always start, with our short change history. Today we're talking about Kingdom Hearts, which is a 2002 action RPG developed and released by, as they were known at the time, Squaresoft, in association with Disney Interactive. There are several accounts as to how Kingdom Hearts came to be. One version is that a few Square employees were discussing how it would be cool for Square to develop an open-world game like Super Mario 64, but the only characters more iconic than Mario would have to be a Disney property. That was overheard by Tetsuya Nomura, lead character designer for Final Fantasy VII, who said it was a great idea and that he would work on it if he could direct. Another version is that Nomura and Square producer Shinji Hashimoto happened to be in an elevator with a Disney executive, as both Disney and Square had offices in the same building in Japan, resulting in an elevator pitch. Literally. Either way, over the course of 3 mainline games and 10 spin-offs, Kingdom Hearts has sold over 36 million copies worldwide, making it Square Enix's third highest-selling franchise after Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. The original Kingdom Hearts is currently available for PlayStation, Xbox, Switch via their cloud service, and PC platforms. Timmy, as the guest, and I apologize in advance, would you mind telling us a little bit about what Kingdom Hearts is actually about?
Oh, Dan. I'll try.
Yeah. Take your time, but
Yeah. All right. So, Kingdom Hearts is either a Disney game made by Square or a Final Fantasy game made by Disney. It feels like both, but never at the same time. You kind of start off as a brand new character named Sora, just on an island playing with some friends, dreaming about leaving the island, which is seemingly the only thing that exists, and going to other worlds, when a mysterious hooded figure and a door with no explanation at the time kind of crop up on the island. Things go to shit, and you are whisked away to Disneyland.
Careful, Timmy.
I mean, not like literally Disneyland, like not Anaheim, California, but...
No, but like, you get this hard cut from like this fantasy island thing to Donald Duck.
Yeah.
And that sets the tone for the rest of the game.
Yeah, pretty much. That I think that'll suffice, because we're going to get into a bunch of the story elements.
Right.
But yes, it is literally a crossover between what Final Fantasy kind of is and became more so. Like, this, in a weird way, set the tone for how Final Fantasy games were going to be presented in the future. Like, as far as the battle system is concerned, as far as how certain worlds were going to feel, like, this predates that change in what Final Fantasy ended up doing in a weird way. So Shea, this is your first experience with Kingdom Hearts overall, right?
No, I played like a little bit with my old roommates, but like maybe 5 seconds, and then watched much later in the game when they were playing.
Okay.
So,
but as far as like a hands-on experience, for the most part, this is your big... Okay. So this is going to be a divisive episode, and that is okay. Shea, how'd you feel? How did you find it?
Felt bad. Dan, it was a bad time.
Let's expand on that.
Sure. I would love to, Dan. Got 7 bullet points here.
Cool.
So the camera is... I have to start with the camera, because that is a fucking nightmare. The word I used in my notes is diabolical. I want to start with this because there is this weird rule in video games sometimes, and obviously Kingdom Hearts is not the only offender of this rule, but there's this weird rule that, like, if the camera were to spin into where a building would be, it, like, can't do that.
Yeah.
Which, in the world of video games, if it's not on the fucking screen, it doesn't fucking exist, okay? So, if I turn my camera to where a building would be, there's no reason that the camera should zoom to the inside of my fucking shoulder. which, by the way, is another place that a camera shouldn't be. So I don't know why that works, but going through a building can't. Anyway, I'm sure it's a programming thing, but I fucking hate the camera, which then led to me hating the battle system, because it is almost impossible to keep track of enemies on this screen, because the, like, view box that you have of this boy with the giant shoes running around with a key sword fighting little shadow monsters is so fucking small that it's so hard to track these guys. And there are just times where you're fighting people and they just stop taking damage from you, which is fun and terrible because then you just get hit and you only have 3 items to use. So if you burn through your potions, you're just, I guess, fucked. So, like, the battle system, unpleasant. But, I mean, I know it's a Final Fantasy Disney crossover, but, like, the fucking premise of this game is absolutely nuts.
Oh, it's fucked. It's fucked.
That's to put it mildly.
Like, I've, on numerous occasions, watched basically plot breakdowns of the series as a whole.
And how long were those videos, Dan?
Oh, they range from, like, 20 minutes to 4 hours. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Like, Donkey Kong made one that's, like, 8 minutes, but it's entirely tongue-in-cheek.
I mean, it would have to be to fit in 8 minutes.
Yeah, he's also known for just minimizing everything.
Yeah.
But the first game is pretty cut and dry compared to what the series became.
That is accurate.
Hey, yeah, Timmy. So what have you spent the last, like, month doing?
I replayed every game in this series for this episode.
You fucking madman.
And that includes the mobile games.
Yeah. So, I've mentioned this a million times on the podcast thus far, but I have a Kingdom Hearts tattoo, and I didn't even do that.
I do want to apologize here for how I'm going to treat this game in this episode, because I know it's very near and dear to your heart, Dan.
Oh, I'm looking across the room at my Keyblade right now, as I own one that I bought at a Ren fair. It's okay. I understand what... Like, I have problems with this game. I have problems with this camera.
The camera's not great.
The camera is atrocious.
And I'm a defender of this camera.
Well,
of the camera?
It got better throughout the series. Like, the biggest issue, especially when it comes to the first Kingdom Hearts, is how small the individual pieces of each world and or stage is. It made it very claustrophobic. So when you're trying to build this 3D world out, having this, like, very, very tight plane of vision where the camera would even be able to go doesn't help at all. It would have benefited majorly from a zoom feature instead of just rotational 360, especially with, like, the big fuck off boss fights. You would be able to see everything you're supposed to be trying to hit. Or if you're trying to zoom, like, narrow in on a specific body part or whatever, that you'd be able to handle that as well. The Cerberus fight, even though the fight in the Hercules area is a bigger overall area than a lot of other places, still, like, you can get trapped underneath Cerberus and then your camera gets all fucky.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, see, I never had that issue. I just stand on his head.
Fuck off, Timmy.
I mean, those are the pro strats, and I know I had to remember that was a thing that I had to do also, but...
Gee, it'd be nice if you could remember that stuff when you're playing it the first time.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
not have to experience that boss fight as it was intended.
Yeah.
I will only defend things like the camera in this game because I remember what the other games coming out when this came out were like.
And that's actually a very fair point.
It definitely doesn't hold up today.
No. At the time, fucking revolutionary.
But the only version that's available of this game is the 1.5 HD remix, okay? And that game came out the same year that Payday 2 did.
Yeah, well, yes.
So, fucking fix it.
And they had opportunity to do so. Like, they could have done a ground up just overhaul of the shit that didn't work, and they chose not to. So that I entirely agree. But on the other hand, it took them 20 years to make the remake of Final Fantasy VII, which was a complete overhaul. Like, they could hypothetically do that with Kingdom Hearts, and they might at some point in the future, like, fully fucking 8K resolution Kingdom Hearts 1 if they wanted to. I can't imagine what the licensing would be for that, and
I was gonna say, at this point they probably cannot actually do that.
Well, they could eliminate James Woods from the whole thing, because fuck that guy. Alright, so I do want to get into story a little bit. So, Sora, as an original character, is one of... Okay. I don't know at this point how I feel about Sora in Kingdom Hearts 1. And, I mean, this is a 20-year-old game.
See, I was just about to ask you which Sora.
Yeah, well, that's a whole ass loaded question, isn't it? Because of what this series became, there are like multiple Soras, Sora offshoots, fucking whatever. But I'm talking about Gen 1, Haley Joel Osment ass Sora. There are parts of this even story-wise that I don't feel aged super well. And when I was 16, 17 playing this for the first time, like it just hit differently, as most things in media do. This is like not the best game in the series, as Timmy would probably agree now, having played fucking all of them.
It's also not the worst.
It's also not the worst. That's true. The 3 whatever over 2 is probably the worst.
What, 358 over 7?
Is that what the fuck it is? I thought it was over 2. It doesn't matter.
Are we talking about fucking math right now?
I mean, it's definitely the worst one in the collection, because two of the games in the collection, they didn't even port, they just gave you the cutscene compilations, so you need the original consoles to play them.
The regular game wasn't good either.
No. It definitely... It was a dumbed-down combat system with an overly complicated Organization 13 story.
Yeah. There's so much there that we do not have time to discuss.
Oh, no, not it. We'd be here for 6 hours.
Yeah. Without going off a script, I can only imagine what our overall story breakdown would end up being. But the easy way to put this is a little anime boy goes to a bunch of Disney-themed planets. They've expanded upon that idea in later installments, but for this one, you get to go to Alice in Wonderland, Hercules, Tarzan, Aladdin, Pinocchio sorta kinda, because you just hang out in Monstro's belly.
Yeah.
Which is Little Mermaid, Nightmare Before Christmas, Peter Pan, and then also sorta kind of Beauty and the Beast, but not really.
Oh, don't forget about Winnie the Pooh.
And yes, and you hang out in the book for Winnie the Pooh. Again, at the time, especially with the way Disney licensing works, like, this was a big fucking deal. Disney itself wasn't doing it crossovers with its own stuff to this level just yet. Like, it's something they kind of got more comfortable with, but outside of like going to a Disney park, seeing this amount of characters in the same piece of media was not a thing. I remember like being a big Disney fan as a kid. Like, this was massive to me. Now it's just, I'm jaded on it, and I also know the really silly things that they've added into this series over the years, but like at the time, this was...
First one wasn't silly enough for you, Dan?
I mean...
The first one's relatively grounded.
Yeah, comparatively speaking. Like, the reason that the Disney characters are there has a relatively cohesive overall idea. Like, a bunch of the Disney villains got together and had to kidnap a bunch of quote-unquote princesses of heart in order to essentially dominate the known universe, I guess, is the very, very simplistic way of putting this. Whereas later on, like, the Disney villains themselves are just side characters to this much bigger plot about the Keyblade Wars and Xehanort and clones and a bunch of other things that we will definitely not be expanding upon right now.
Yeah.
Like, the main villain of this game is a dude named Ansem, who isn't really Ansem. That's another guy entirely. It's a clone of a dude who wants to... It's a whole ass thing. I think the reason that Final Fantasy games are self-contained is that if they tried to make direct sequels in the way that Kingdom Hearts has, Cloud would end up being somehow literally God and recreating everything in his own image. It's like the 4th game in the series. Like, it's that...
Yeah.
Fucking Dan, insane.
They also do that Final Fantasy storytelling where all that stuff about Ansem, that's like the last 5th of the game.
Yeah.
They flip you into that, like, just snap you into it because you think Maleficent is the main villain of the game up to that point.
you get the Ansem reports, but you have no frame of context as to why that fucking matters at all. And also, the Ansem that wrote those is not the Ansem that you fight. But you don't find that shit out until it's fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah, no, this shit goes off the rails in Act 3.
So goddamn quickly. Shay, how far did you make it overall?
The Coliseum.
Okay. Which is
That's it.
pretty much what I was like, please just get to this part. I know it's going to be a struggle. Because I knew, like, in my heart of hearts, I know this is a very dense and weird thing to try to make people play. This is maybe going to be, and I've said this before, but like this will probably be our biggest discrepancy in terms of points. And I'm going to try really hard to be objective and not just fully nostalgic. And that's why it's great to have Tim here as a relatively unbiased opinion on this as well.
Now, Shea, I'm actually curious on this. What did you make for your choices at the beginning? Because that does actually affect the playthrough.
It does.
Yeah. No, I know. Couldn't fucking tell you, to be honest with you. Don't remember, because I spent so much fucking time looking for Donald and Goofy in Travel Town, or whatever the first place is called. I don't remember.
Okay.
Sword, I think I picked, and then...
Sacrifice magic or defense?
I think so,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like the first one determines which skill you'll be better at, and the second one determines how your experience doles out for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like whether it's faster to 50, or faster after 50, or even the whole way through.
Yeah.
I thought that had to do with when you leave the island.
Those choices
Something.
matter as well.
Yeah, there's so many things that
Which
they
would
just don't
cool
fucking tell
if
you.
They would tell you.
It's stupid cryptic. Like, you could accidentally make this way harder on yourself.
Yeah, I was also playing on Proud mode, which immediately is much harder.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, even for me, who's, like, seasoned in the series, like, I got fucked up by the Cave of Wonders, because I just didn't grind hard enough, which, like, is obnoxious. Okay, so let's get back into the actual play style and things like that. Was there anything about this that you did like, Shay, in terms of the actual battle system or traversal or anything? Or was the whole thing just a struggle the whole time for you?
I mean, there wasn't anything that I particularly liked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I liked that it wasn't the same kind of thing as the original Final Fantasy VII, where you're picking from a menu in, like, real time.
Yes.
Appreciate that, but, like, other than that, like, there wasn't anything that I was like, yeah, this part's good.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like, this is fine, and this part I hate, you know? And I hate to say that, because I feel like a lot of the issues that I have with this game are mainly about it showing its age.
And that's entirely fair.
But, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like I don't have a whole lot of good things to say about this game.
So I can say with pretty definite confidence that the second game is probably the best in the series overall.
I disagree with you, though, on that one, Dan.
I know.
I'll give you it's the second best.
I just feel like it figured out what it needed to be and didn't try to overreach, because I think the third definitely overreached. You feel like one of the spin-offs is the best one, though. So which one do you feel is the best?
I liked Birth by Sleep.
And I understand that. Birth by Sleep is a prequel. My biggest complaint with Birth by Sleep is the fact that you technically have to play it 3 times in order to get all of it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a Nier Automata fan, so...
Yeah.
So that's not really an issue for me.
No, I get it. I mean, we could spin our wheels and get into, like, the nitty-gritty about the worlds themselves, but we should probably get to pros and cons. I will ask, at least Timmy, did you have a favorite world out of this first crop?
Out of the first crop?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hollow Bastion, definitely. Like, this game picks up in Act 3 for me.
Okay. So Hollow Bastion is the one that isn't technically a Disney world, which I also not the Orlando one. but like includes Beast from Beauty and the Beast for like a weird ass reason. Like he just jumps his own planet, although they kind of made it clear that only a couple people are supposed to be able to do that in order to go after Belle, yada yada. But it's where you have the big blow-off fight with Maleficent. You're not given like too much context as to what Hollow Bastion is in the first one, but
No, the second game fleshes out pretty good, though.
yeah, but that's where all the Final Fantasy characters that you run into are supposed... Well, okay, like 75% of the Final Fantasy characters, because they just don't explain why Tidus, Selphie, and Wakka are on like that original
Destiny Islands.
Yeah, Destiny Island. They don't bother explaining that at all, or why they're children,
And why should
fucking
they?
Right. Like, I don't think at any point they explain that. Like, they have 2 characters from Final Fantasy X, 1 character from Final Fantasy VIII that are just your childhood friends, but fuck it, because who cares?
Well, I mean, then you get to you get to Traverse Town, and all of a sudden you got Squall hanging out with Aerith. So,
Who? Squall? No. I think you mean Leon for no fucking reason.
I like to think that Sora's part of Wakka's dodgeball team in Final Fantasy, whichever.
Yeah, he's just like a future
just a
star
member.
blitzball player.
they really dropped the ball by not having Blitzball in this series.
Did they though?
Okay.
Did they though?
Okay.
I mean, I love blitzball genuinely, but they did not need to add anything else to this.
I mean, if they replaced the gummy ship shit with Blitzball, maybe.
Yeah, we should probably discuss the gummy ship real fast, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a basic rail shooter. It's the dumbest version of Star Fox you can imagine.
Yeah.
It gets better with the second game, and then gets worse again in the third game.
Yeah, Shea, the third fucking gummy ship thing is like a fully 3D thing. Like, you have to actually navigate from world to world in the third one.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The one in the second game is actually just a pretty fun arcade rail shooter.
Yeah. They just took that idea and made it actually work. Like, there are so many weird restrictions on the gummy ship stuff in the first one. Like, you get all these blueprints that you're not able to build until the last part of Act 3, because you have to have all these specific Lego block-ass pieces in order to build a flying cactar and what the fuck ever. It's
Yeah.
fine. It's all fine. All right. Pros and cons. I actually want Timmy to go first.
All right.
I'm not going to go till we get to comments.
That's
so
I know.
feel free to
I know what I'm
discuss
doing.
amongst yourselves.
So for a pro, the combat system comes to mind because this combat system laid the groundwork for everything to come in action RPGs.
Yeah.
Like across the genre. They took the ETB system from like Final Fantasy VII and they took the timers out of it. So now you have free control, a basic attack button, and a menu to go down to your spells, items, and summons. And forgive me, I have played a lot of these. Did the first one have the hotkeys in it? On the triggers?
No.
Yes.
Kind of, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The
just for
the spell
spells,
slots, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, in future games, you could put anything on the hotkeys, but still, revolutionary as far as a combat system goes, despite the lock-on not working well at all.
Cycling had more issues than the actual lock itself, but yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of like nitpicky issues with the combat system, but the groundwork was revolutionary.
I can't tell you how frustrating it was to be in the middle of a fight in an area where like you'd try to cycle the lock on and it would go to like a fucking chair in the corner.
Fuck that chair.
Fuck that chair.
Should have gone to
candle,
Donald so you
or
could smack him
fucking-
upside the head.
Dude. Yeah. Okay. Keep going. Because I'm now developing a bunch of cons and I'm not happy about it.
So I'd like to go with a con right away then, Dan.
Mhm.
The Ally AI.
Okay. Yep. That's one of my biggest.
So, do you like having potions to heal yourself? Well, don't give them to your allies.
And like, okay. So,
And God damn it, Donald, heal me!
yeah, there are presets for different actions that the AI companions can do that don't feel like they actually matter. Like, it'll slow down the amount of magic that Donald just throws around, but it's the fact that you can't eliminate things. Like, the amount of times I got arrow put on me for, like, no fucking reason, just sapping Donald's MP.
Oh, yeah. Donald will blow all of his MP right at the beginning of a fight.
No matter what your settings are.
And that doesn't get much better in the later games. Like, you have more control over what he can do. And, you know, for someone who is canonically the most powerful wizard in the Final Fantasy franchise, you would think he'd be smarter.
Yeah, that's a true statement, by the way, Shea. Donald is the strongest mage in the Final Fantasy overall canon.
Yep. Yeah, alright. Cool.
Like, he's on the level of Bahamut, straight up. It's fucking so weird.
Dog, what is this game?
I don't know.
What are we talking about here?
I don't know. Your best bet with the AI is to just put potions on you and swap Donald out for whatever character is in that world.
Yeah.
And just run Goofy.
You know what my big issue was with Donald? Aside from him never fucking healing me. Dude fights up close as a wizard. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Everybody knows that wizards are in the back.
Yeah. And it's because he saps all
idiot.
of his MP immediately, and so he has no choice but to go out and fucking just smack people with a wand.
That at least gets better in the next games, other than he's out of range to heal you.
Yeah, also true. God damn it.
Sounds like he may be the worst wizard, actually. Or excuse me, worst mage in the Final Fantasy.
Either
canon.
apply. Well, it kind of at least makes sense because it's not like Donald has ever been depicted as fucking rational.
Or competent.
Yeah, like, and Goofy is a fucking idiot. So that also kind of works. Like, we didn't even really discuss the fact that, like, yeah, so Sora just ends up meeting up with Donald and Goofy, who are trying to find King Mickey, who ends up becoming one of the most powerful Keyblade wielders in the fucking series. Because why not?
Mm-hmm.
Your character, like Sora, ends up not passing, like, essentially a test to become a legit Keyblade master in a later installment, and it's like, well, what the fuck? What am I even fucking doing now? I've saved the world multiple times over, it feels like, but I'm not good enough to be a Keyblade master. Cool.
Well, he hadn't mastered the power of friendship yet.
I don't even...
Oh, fuck.
I know. Shea, I know. I was hoping...
Oh,
Are we in cons yet? Because I'm
fire,
ready to go
fire
off.
Shea.
Yeah, they pull out the power of friendship thing in this series.
Hardcore.
Oh, God. Yeah, it was in your heart the whole time.
Oh yes, very... Oh.
No,
everything's
you have no
in
idea
hearts.
how true that is.
Yeah, no.
Even
anyway.
the people who don't have hearts.
Shea, fucking
Oh my
rapid
God.
fire. Go for it. Let's see what you
Okay,
got.
boss fights. Not good. Not really pattern recognition so much as at some point they just stop taking damage from you and are gonna fuck you up.
Yep.
Next, there is an aggressive lack of direction in this game. I spent almost 2 hours wandering around to try to find Donald and Goofy and continue the game, then got so frustrated that I went back to save and quit. Then when I came back to start it again, the cutscene I needed randomly triggered.
Yep.
Next, I don't know about the rest of the cast, but specifically David Boreanaz phoned it the fuck in this game.
So bad.
It's like... It's like they had him read one line only using sounds and then extrapolated every word they needed and plugged it in the same cadence for the rest of the game. It's worse than Danny Glover's performance in Saw. It's bad.
Yeah. Alright.
Speaking of voice actors doing a bad job, the Danny DeVito impersonator they have doing Phil at the Coliseum World is not good.
That's played by Joey Tribbiani's father, I believe, from Friends.
Sure.
It's fine. It's just a thing.
It's not a great impression.
It's real bad.
Oh boy.
Sign up for the games. It's just awful.
The vibe it gave was British person trying to do an American accent or American person trying to do a British accent. That it was the same vibe. It's like a caricature of Danny DeVito, himself a caricature of a person.
I want to point out that Danny DeVito is currently doing ads for like Jersey Mike subs. Motherfucker
Right?
had the time to do
Yeah,
This.
they just did not want
In
to pay Danny
the
DeVito.
year 2000. But they paid fucking James Woods. They paid, like... anyway, sorry. Continue.
I actually talked about most of the rest of my cons already. Gummy ship bullshit. Needs to be scrapped. Camera work diabolical. Shouldn't be inside my shoulder. So...
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. The camera and the AI are my biggest complaints. Like, I can't criticize the scale of stages just because they were limited at the time. With a full remaster, like, I'm sure none of this would be as cramped as it is. It's the absolute worst is when you're just on Captain Hook's pirate ship. That's like a whole planet, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's the worst, not Atlantica?
Atlantica is bad for different reasons. Because so, Shea, since you hadn't gotten there, you get turned into a sorta mermaid, just with a dolphin tail.
Goofy is a turtle.
Yeah. Goofy's a turtle, and Donald is an octopus mermaid, I guess.
I believe the term is quackin'.
Get fucked.
All right. I have another con. Can you guess what it is?
The
That
fact
pun?
that Quacken exists. If that's accurate,
I really hope it's not.
I'm canceling this
'Cause I just
whole
made that
episode. Okay, thank Christ. So we just won't have you on as a guest. We'll continue the episode, and this is it for you. Got it. Kidding. Yeah, so it's just like the bottom half of Donald is fucking tentacles, which, since Ursula is there, it's not uncalled for, I guess, but not good.
No, it's the swim controls.
The swim controls are so terrible. You have basically an XY axis thing that you have to do, where one button has you sink, one button has you rise, but also because the buttons are so limited, it doesn't really work anywhere near the way you want it to.
And the controls were the same for the flight in Neverland, but because everything was so open, it wasn't as much of an issue.
Yeah. And you'd think that locking on, and I think this is something they fixed in later games, locking on, you'd still just be on the same level plane. It wouldn't help you go up and down. It would just be 360 side to side, whatever. Not good.
I don't know, Dan, because it seemed like they just decided to not work on that with how they portrayed that same level in the second game.
Well, I don't even want to... I know what happens with Atlantica later on in the series, and I don't even want to think about it. By the way, I think Halloween Town was my favorite, since nobody asked.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally
Halloween
kidding.
Town is a fun one, because it does actually kind of capture that Tim Burton magic somehow.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird standalone thing. I'll say that's a pro. I think they did a really good job overall of getting the feeling of all the worlds pretty right to varying levels of success. The music that they chose for each stage, basically redoing a bunch of the Disney classic things, makes it feel correct, I guess. I want to say, I don't want to go too overboard, because I really did not enjoy this as much as I wanted to.
I do have another quick pro.
Yeah, go ahead.
The post-game content.
Okay.
So, I mean, for this game, that basically covers the optional stuff at the Coliseum.
Yes.
But, unlike a lot of the bosses in this game, which are not the best, those are well made, enjoyable, and has one of the hardest boss fights that I've ever had to do.
Yeah, there are 2 unbelievably difficult boss fights in this first game. It's just a Square tradition to be like, hey, do you really want to challenge yourself? Because we've added this little fucking thing that you can just happen upon. Because, the one in the desert is fucked up.
Yeah.
The one between, that'll just randomly trigger, as far as I remember, but between Agrabah and the Cave of Wonders is so goddamn difficult.
Yeah, that one is really tough.
But the one at the Coliseum...
I just remember I just remember basically shitting myself as a 15-year-old when I walk into this cup, which is just labeled like Platinum Cup or something like that.
Yep.
And I walk in, a wall of fire goes up, preventing Donald and Goofy from joining me in this fight. And then One Winged Angel starts playing. And then 5 seconds later, I have been skewered by Sephiroth.
Yeah.
And his optional boss fight did not get easier.
No. The second one is way the fuck harder, I feel.
I actually feel the second one is like a dice roll, whether or not you could even get through the opening QTE.
Yeah, true. All of my other pros, if I'm being honest, are probably nostalgia-based, so I'm good to start throwing numbers if you guys are.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, the rose-colored glasses are hard on this one for me.
It is.
Okay.
Right.
Are you ready?
No, but we're going to do it anyway.
All right, up first. Does it work?
I can't, in good conscience, give this anything better than a half point, because there are some glaring issues in terms of the camera, in terms of how the battle system works versus what's intended, the AI, everything. Like, at the easiest setting, yes, this is fine. When you get into the harder versions, the harder modes, the harder, like proud mode, anything like that, no, it really shows its issues. So I'm probably being generous by saying a half point, just because I know what Shea is going to say. But Timmy, what do you think?
Do not. I guarantee it.
I'm also at a half point.
Okay.
And my reasoning is, if this came out today, it's 0 points. When
Yes.
this came out, it's a full point solid.
Well, that's an interesting point to bring up, because we're not, we try not to judge these based on context at the time.
Like, everything still works the way it did when it released, which when it released,
Yeah.
it worked fine, but those best practices have completely changed. This would be atrocious to release now.
Yeah.
So they worked as intended when designed, so I'm giving it the half.
Actually, Dan, you do know what I was going to say, because Timmy has actually convinced me to lower my score. At the time, sure, but like the only version is the 1.5 remix, which came out 10 years later, and like I said earlier, came out at the same time as Payday 2, which, like, you know, say what you will about any of their mechanics, but like those best practices had already changed, and they didn't do fuck all with what they did in Kingdom Hearts.
Well, I mean, the ports kind of got phoned in also. All they did was up the resolution and port a couple of the games over.
Which
My
I can't
God,
stand.
That's that. Oh boy,
It's money
we're gonna
grab
get into
bullshit.
that in a second.
Yeah. Well, but
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, so 0 points for me. Is it engaging?
okay. This is nostalgia based. I'm going to say for sure this is nostalgia based. But yes, I mean, it's hard to understand now the impact this had, because there really wasn't anything like this at the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much to like about this story, even though it's all convoluted. But like, at the core of it, it is just a kid trying to find his friends, which, like, that's a fun. I like it. I just like it. I'm giving it a full point. I don't. It's a difficult thing to justify all the time, but like, I just think there's a lot of charm to this.
All right, Timmy.
I'm a fanboy of this series. It engages me. It's getting a point from me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, this is a very subjective question on this one.
1,000%. Yeah.
I'm also going to give it a point, mainly because you have to be fucking engaged to figure out what the fuck is going on in here. So,
I'm not even sure being engaged is enough.
Yeah.
I would agree with,
There's so much
with
backstory
that.
you got to figure out.
Well,
For
that's
sure.
that's kind of the roller coaster on this shit, huh? Is you have to be engaged to a point and then disengage.
Kind of, yeah. There's definitely a balance you need to strike.
Yeah. Okay. So full point for me there. Does it look good?
At the time, sure. I mean, even for a 20-year-old game, it doesn't look terrible. The only things that really stand out are, in certain cutscenes, facial motions are a little rough. Like, it's basically like two versions, like mouth open, mouth closed. But I mean, there are worse looking games that are released today, and I'm not even talking about the pixel graphic stuff. Like, 3D rendered stuff, I've seen worse things released post 2020. I have no problem giving this a full point. I think all the Disney characters look like they're supposed to. All the Final Fantasy characters, for the most part, even with the redesigns, look like they're supposed to. The stages themselves, although simplistic at times, just to get the point across, like, all look like they're supposed to. This is a full point.
Timmy?
Yeah, I'm going to wind up giving this a full point as well. Dan pretty much covered all the reasons already.
Okay. I'm going to give it a half.
Okay.
The reason I'm giving this a half is because, and I cannot stress this enough, this is no longer a 20-year-old game. It is a 10-year-old game that came out at the same time as Payday 2.
Yeah.
It looks bad. They didn't do anything in what they called an HD remix.
So I have this for the original PlayStation 2. This looks a lot better than that.
I mean...
It does.
I'm sure that it does, but it doesn't look good. Anyway, I'm giving it a half. Is there replayability?
Not inherently. Timmy is going to be a better authority on this, having played fucking everything in the catalog, with the exception of 3 in the last... I mean, how many weeks did it take you, Tim?
Sorry, this is measured in weeks?
About 5 weeks.
Fucking Christ.
And I did mostly speed playthroughs. I spent the most time in this one since we were covering it for the podcast. The rest of them, I did just like straight storyline playthroughs. I didn't go for any of like the big weapons or upgrades or anything like that. I just plowed through it for content.
Yeah, in terms of our reoccurring guests, no one can say that Timmy is not dedicated.
I mean, as far as like the first game here, I went and got Ultima Weapon and all the gummy ships, and I beat Sephiroth. But,
sure. Boy, oh boy. All right.
So, Timmy, are you giving it any points for replayability?
No, I am not.
Yeah, I don't think I am either.
I think you should replay these every once in a while, but because you enjoy playing them and like the storyline and forgot what happened and got confused again.
And this is the least amount of like relevant story in the series, kind of. Like, even some of the side stories have more to do with the overall story than this first one does.
Yeah. But like, this isn't a game that craves replayability. This is a game you replay because you're feeling nostalgic for Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah. And so if you don't have that pre-built in you, no, there is absolutely no reason to replay this. Shea, I'm gonna assume it's also a 0 here.
It is, Dan.
Okay.
I'm gonna play it again, but it's gonna be out of spite, because I'm not gonna let this game beat me.
I mean, I love that for you.
I would actually recommend just watching a 5-hour recap on the first game and just going to the second one.
There are about 20,000 of them on YouTube to choose from.
Cool. It's about the time I spent looking for Donald and Goofy in
It's about
World
true.
1.
That's about right. Yeah.
Anyway, is there a story?
Too much. But in terms of this first game, I think because they parse out so little information at certain points in time, and a lot of it is just rehashing what happens in Disney films.
Mm-hmm.
I think this one, more than any other game in the overall series, like, Sora just kind of gets pigeonholed into Disney situations, as it were. Like,
yeah,
they change how because like they kind of figured out later on that like you can just put him in this world and do like an expanded version of certain things, as opposed to hanging out with Ariel, her saying like, oh, I just want to, explore outside of the seas, and then like make Sora be a critical part of what that story is. Like, that doesn't work as well as just visiting a planet or world or Disney movie and having them be like, hey, so we already know what this is about. We understand what people understand about this franchise. So let's just fucking have fun with it.
Yeah.
For this first one, they didn't figure any of that out yet. So at best, I can give it a half.
Okay. Timmy?
I'm also going to give it a half point. And this is a weird logic here. When you played the game the first time, this felt like a long, in-depth storyline. And you don't really realize how much of nothing this is until the other games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Phantom Menace for this series.
Oh, you shut your goddamn mouth.
It's the only of the 9 movies that you can not watch and it doesn't affect the rest of the story.
Midichlorians might actually help this franchise explain some of the shit.
You said the M word.
No.
The M word.
You're the one who brought up Phantom Menace, Timmy.
You did.
I'm giving this a 0 because they don't really have anything. Like, Sora's the main character, and they could give a fuck about him.
At this stage, absolutely true.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. I don't know about the rest of the games, but, like, I have no connection to him, you know? And, like, as the main character, he should have some kind of, like, story built into him. Even the motivation of going to find Riku and Kairi, thank you. Blanked on her name. Even the motivation of going to find them is not particularly strong because they didn't really interact that much on Destiny Island.
No, they didn't give you enough establishment at that time.
Yeah.
No, it's just implied, and then they double down on the implication later on.
Yes.
Yeah, they just tell you that you're really good friends, and I'm like, are we though? It actually seems like Riku's a dick. So maybe I don't want to find him.
No, he is. No, he is.
Right. So, like, I don't really want to go find him. And Kairi seems enamored with him, so maybe I don't really want to find her either.
Yeah,
you know?
Sora very much feels like a third wheel in the first game.
Dog, he is a third wheel.
The first game, Dan?
Well, no, because, like, later on he becomes, like, the 17th wheel. And and somehow 14th and 11th, because there are multiple versions of him. Anyway, I completely agree with that. It's arguable that, like, Riku is a more fleshed out character in the first one than Sora is. Like, they show more range, more depth, and more, in a weird way, empathy with Riku, a character you're supposed to kind of dislike in the first one, than they did their main character.
Man, speaking of actors that phoned it in, I know he was like a kid at the time, but David Gallagher did not do a good job.
No. I mean, better than David Boreanaz, but
yeah, for sure.
That's
I don't think
really not saying
genuinely,
much.
I'm 100% positive that they just had David Boreanaz say every sound in, like, the alphabet and strung them together in the same cadence for his lines. Like, he is so monotone in his line delivery. Like, it's embarrassingly bad. Like, this might be the worst performance I've seen outside of, like, a C horror film. You know what I mean? Did you
have, like, a favorite voice performance in this, just out of curiosity?
No.
In your relatively limited experience, because, like,
I mean, Kairi, I guess, was probably the best one.
Hayden Panettiere.
That's not saying much.
I actually think Christy Carlson Romano really seemed to give a shit. Like, it's
who was she voicing?
She was Yuffie.
Oh, Yuffie didn't talk enough for me in what I played, so maybe you're right, but
yeah,
she doesn't get a ton of lines, but she did them well.
Yeah, she like really gave it her all. She came more prepared to act than, like, almost anybody.
Thinking about the way they presented the story with Sora not really mattering, that's not the first time. I actually think it was the first time, but that's not the only time Square's done that. Final Fantasy, it was 11 or 12. That did that as well, and that also fell flat.
Well, 12 was the MMO, so it was probably 11.
So it was 11 then, because the main character there, Vaughn.
Wait, do I have that backwards? I might have that backwards. I don't care.
But that, like, the main character there, Vaughn, like, his whole thing was, I want to be a sky pirate. 4 hours into the game, hey, you want to be a sky pirate, kid? Cool.
Yeah, Vaughn sucks. All right. Our final.
Cool.
Yay, Square.
Our final 5-point big question. Is it worth the cost?
So we cheated a little bit on this one. I thought this would be an interesting game to cover. The issue is, you can't get the original Kingdom Hearts without it being part of a package. These packages kind of range in price. An every game version, there's the 1.5, 2.5 remix version, there's the whatever. So, like, when you break it down, regardless of the pack, it does make it less than $20, but it's kind of a sliding scale. So what we're going to do is, we're going to base this on, if we say it's $20, what you feel it's worth, and we'll put our numbers in that ballpark. Does that seem fair?
Sure. So for this game in a vacuum.
In a vacuum. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
At $20. Yeah.
And I'm only comfortable with a 3 at best. I like this series. I like what this overall did for video gaming. Because you're right, Tim. Like, this changed how action RPGs were presented. This was kind of the first of its kind with this battle structure, the 3D, like, real RPG kind of feel has been copied over and over and over and over. And this is kind of your origin point. So historically, it does kind of stand out as something that should be cherished in video gaming. But as an experience on its own, it did not really hold up. Like, I'm teetering toward a 2, but I'm gonna stick with a 3 just because partially nostalgia, even though I'm trying to be objective. Yeah. Oh. Timmy? Fuck it. It's a 2. No. Just quick like a Band-Aid. It's a 2. Tim, go.
I'm giving it a 1.
Holy shit! Okay.
I would like to note that standalone 1, in the ways you can purchase this at the prices I did, a 5.
Yes. Okay.
But as a standalone, if you could just buy this game only for $20, that's a 1.
Okay, but that means hypothetically, you wouldn't pay more than $4 for this game.
I would not.
Okay. Like, I'm putting it at like at $10.
I bought the 1525 collection for $20.
Okay, true.
And there are 5 games and 2 movies in that?
Yeah. Was that, Timmy, is that a physical copy from a brick and mortar?
No.
Okay. Because that particular set retails for $40.
I may have got it on sale, but
right. But
I did only pay $20 for it.
Yeah,
fair. Okay.
I did say for what I paid for it.
Yeah. Man, oh man. All right, Shea, what do you got?
I'm giving it a 2. It's an $8 game, and we're gonna move on from there because I can feel the sadness in Dan.
It's not sadness. It's just
that hurt
realism.
Me too.
Like, I know, I do love this game, but it has shown its age. I mean, this is the oldest game we've covered for the podcast so far.
10 years old?
Well, realistically,
right.
20.
No, it's a 20-year game.
Like, they didn't do enough with the remasters, as we've now mentioned multiple times over, to really count what the 10-year mark is. I love the whole more than I love the pieces of the whole. So
that's a very good way of putting it.
It just is what it is. All right, that's going to put our final scores for today. 5 points from me, 4 points from Tim, and yeah.
That hurt.
And 3.5 points from Shea. Based on the numbers, that means we would not recommend this kind of as a unanimous front. But numbers regardless, is this something you both feel people should play?
I definitely feel that if you haven't played Kingdom Hearts, you should either play Kingdom Hearts or drink with someone who has. If you have no idea what's going on, finding someone who is well-versed in this, having a few drinks, and having them try to explain it to you would be a wild ride.
Yeah, okay. What do you say, Shea?
No.
Okay. Done deal.
Like you guys have pointed out, the blueprint for many, many, many more action RPGs that are, I would say, better.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't think that 3.5, I think that I feel that a 5 is a more accurate representation of how I feel about this game, but I still don't think that I would recommend it. I mean, even from what, talking with you guys, like, 2 sounds like it's better than this one, so, like, might as well play that.
It is. Besides the Tron world, that shit can go fuck itself.
Oh, that's my favorite world.
Are you serious? All right, we need to move on. Hey, you guys want to play a game?
Dan, join my Viking raiding party as we attempt to build our civilization from the ground up. I would love to play a game.
Oh, that's great. So
that is, of course, a feast for Odin, which we may have done before, but
who's keeping track? So during the development of Kingdom Hearts, director Tetsuya Nomura knew he needed to find something special as a theme song for a project of this magnitude. His first and only choice for a collaborator was Japanese pop legend Utada, and the resulting song Hikari, or Simple and Clean in the English version, became one of the most iconic aspects of the original game. Music can sometimes make or break the feel of a game, and occasionally a little star power is called for to push a game just over the top. So today, we're going to delve into just that. I have 2 lists for you both. 1 list of artists and 1 list of games. And you guys are going to match up who did what. Before we start, though, I want to talk about this because I didn't end up including it, and I just found it extremely interesting. So during the research, I found that there was a game that was being made called The Nomad Soul, and the director was given like kind of free reign to make suggestions as to who he wanted to collaborate with. And it was like, in your wildest dreams, who would you want to work on this game? And it was like Bjork and all these other artists, and David Bowie was on this list. And not only did David Bowie agree to do it, in true Bowie fashion, he went so incredibly far and beyond that Bowie ended up writing an album's worth of music for the game, provided his voice and likeness for an NPC, and even got his wife, Iman, to voice a character. Fucking insane. I've never even heard of the Nomad Soul, and good on David Bowie. But anyway, I digress. So, I'm going to have 2 lists. You guys can both write them down. And we'll do this like we normally do. We'll take 2 cracks at it. I'll let you know which ones you got right the first time, and then we'll switch back around, and we'll reassign. Cool?
Cool.
All right.
Cool.
So, here are the bands and or artists who have worked on video games.
Dan, is this a list of people who have done an original song for a game, or is it like people who appear on the radio in GTA 5?
Fully original songs.
Okay.
All right. Well, kind of. There's one that's like a weird little exception, but yes. Like some were the score, some were, in one case, like a cover of the theme. It's
right.
a whole thing. Anyway, so the artists are Megadeth.
It's got to be Doom, right? Anyway, Imagine Dragons.
Imagine Dragons. 9 Inch Nails. Churches. That's the one with the...
Timmy, that's with a U.
That's with a V.
Sorry, that's what I meant. A V instead of a U.
Churches.
Yep.
Churches.
Churches.
Florence and the Machine.
Lomac.
Skrillex.
Okay.
Katy Perry.
I know this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg. Friend of the show.
Yep.
Wonder Woman actress Linda Carter.
Does she spell her first name with a Y?
She sure does.
Okay. I thought so.
And finally, Sir Paul McCartney.
Okay.
And your video games in alphabetical order.
Okay.
Death Stranding.
Okay.
Destiny.
Okay.
Duke Nukem Forever.
Oh, there it is.
Fallout 4.
Okay.
Final Fantasy 15.
Okay.
Final Fantasy Brave Exvius.
You're gonna have to tell me what the fuck that is.
Is that a mobile game?
It sure is.
Oh, good. That's gotta be Linda Carter, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay.
League of Legends.
Okay.
Quake.
Okay.
And Tekken Tag Tournament 2.
I was wrong about Katy Perry.
Sure were.
Yeah.
What did you think it was?
That's Sims.
I mean, that's also true. Didn't she write a
Yeah.
song in Simlish?
She recorded vocals
Insane.
in Simlish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is Simlish actually translatable?
No. I like,
She seems
sorta.
to think so.
Yeah. But no.
They like to imply it on the menu in Sims 4, but there's not like a translation dictionary, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So what are you thinking?
Okay. I'm almost positive that I just saw an Imagine Dragons song in Death Stranding.
Okay.
That would make sense.
Megadeth has got to be Duke Nukem Forever. You cannot
No,
tell me that's incorrect.
It's Dan, which Quake is this?
The original.
Oh. Because I was thinking Megadeth for Quake.
Okay. Actually, that does... I still think Duke Nukem Forever, because none of these other... I mean, unless it's fucking Paul McCartney.
For Duke Nukem? Could you fuck,
which would
like...
be fucking hilarious.
I just want to hear the conversation.
Maybe Snoop Dogg.
Timmy, who's the Kingdom Hearts 3 one?
Kingdom Hearts 3... I'm going to have to go with Paul McCartney on that one.
Okay.
Like, that they got Disney money. And Paul McCartney doesn't do anything for less than Disney money.
I'm actually thinking Linda Carter might be that Tekken Tag Team 2 or whatever the fuck.
Tekken Tag Tournament?
Sure.
Okay.
I got no issues with that one because I got no clue.
I'm thinking churches for League of Legends, because they like to get, and I say this with all the respect in the world, but like mid-tier bands to do like one song.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that, or do you know that one?
Timmy,
Timmy,
no,
do you
I
know
don't know
any?
that one.
Do you know any of these off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, I know none of these.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I'm heavily leaning towards Megadeth for Quake, but that's the only one.
Okay. Actually, you're right. Skrillex feels more right for Duke Nukem Forever.
All right.
Just some dumb bullshit. It's going to be fun when we come back and none of these are right. Timmy, where do you think Nine Inch Nails fits in here? Because that's
Destiny.
Yeah, that's what I was leaning to.
Yeah, they have the money, they have the popularity.
Right.
It would not surprise me if Reznor plays.
Yeah. Okay, so we got Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15, and Final Fantasy Brave Exvius left, with Florence and the Machine, Katy Perry, and Snoop Dogg. Man, none of those feel good.
Well, so I haven't played 15, so that one's all you, Shea.
I mean, Florence and the Machine feels like they're, of those three, the most logical. So I'm going to stick her in there.
Would that just be something playing on their car radio?
I don't think so. That was, well, maybe, but like, I don't know.
I don't know. From my understanding, it was The Hangover in Final Fantasy.
Oh, interesting, because that's kind of accurate.
That was how the game was described to me.
I don't hate that description.
Wait, like The Hangover, the movie?
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that far off, honestly.
Yeah, that's not.
I having not played
totally
it, that was how it was
incorrect.
described to me.
I don't know who Zach Galifianakis would be in that particular case. I know who Ed Helms
Prompto.
is. Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's correct. Bradley Cooper just really loves cup noodle.
Okay, so we got Katy Perry and Snoop Dogg with Final Fantasy Brave Exvius and Fallout 4. I feel like Katy Perry was the answer to a cameo question in Fallout 4, so I'm going to stick her there, but I don't know that that's... I think I may just be remembering that for fun.
I kind of want to relegate Katy Perry to the mobile game.
When did the mobile game come out, Dan?
So we've talked about Brave Exvius before, because I did a quiz about... Hold on. I did a quiz about celebrity cameos in video games. Yeah. Brave Exvius is the one that features Ariana Grande as Dangerous Ariana.
Oh, that's right.
It's pretty recent.
Timmy, yeah, I agree with you.
Katy Perry there?
Yeah. Snoop Dogg and Fallout 4, yeah, that makes sense.
It's been a while since it's been a while since I played Fallout 4, but I mean Snoop Dogg fits anywhere.
I was gonna say that feels right, but he could also he's our wild card, I think. In this.
That's the wild card. There are
Legends. He could be in Duke Nukem. He could be in Destiny.
Snoop does what he wants to do, including reading quiz questions for us.
Okay, all right, Dan. We've got Megadeth for Quake, Imagine Dragons for Death Stranding, Nine Inch Nails for Destiny, Churches for League of Legends, Florence and the Machine for Final Fantasy 15, Skrillex for Duke Nukem Forever, Katy Perry for Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, Snoop Dogg for Fallout 4, Linda Carter for Tekken Tag Tournament, and Sir Paul McCartney for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay, currently, you have 2 correct.
Fuck off.
Yep.
That is, you're wrong.
I promise you I am not.
Wow.
You are correct with Florence and the Machine for Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, she has the same fucking vibe as that entire franchise soundtrack.
Wrote 2 original songs, and also the opening cinematic is Florence and the Machine covering Stand By Me, which is one of the coolest covers ever.
Yeah, dog.
Like when you're all pushing your shitty little fucking car, that's what comes on the radio is Stand By Me. And it's awesome. Like it's beautiful. It's a beautiful arrangement. Katy Perry is in Brave Exvius. In fact, she as a character is also playable with 4 different costumes, but wrote an original song for that game as well.
Yeah, that Ariana Grande hint really put that one home.
I do what I can. All right, so 2 so far.
All right, so that means that Megadeth has got to be Duke Nukem Forever.
I mean, or Death Stranding.
I don't...
Have you played Death Stranding? I know Shea is currently kind of sort of playing Death Stranding, or have dipped in and out.
Imagine Dragons has got to be League of Legends, right? Because they did the theme song for Arcane. Yeah. Imagine Dragons has got to be League of Legends.
Okay.
The worst part is that I know a video game Megadeth has done original music for, and it's not on this list. Shea, I'm good with Duke Nukem Forever for Megadeth.
Yeah. Does Linda Carter have any other music to her name?
Yeah.
What kind of music does she do?
So, over the last couple decades, I guess, she's been producing, like, jazz music.
Jazz?
See.
Fallout?
I don't hate that answer.
Just because jazz would kind of be, like, jazzy kind of things would be kind of on brand for Fallout.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really fit. She did Death Stranding. I will.
Okay. It is Kojima.
Right.
That's what's throwing everyone off.
But, like, that... You said that Snoop Dogg is the wild card. I would say Kojima's the fucking wild card.
I don't know if this is real or if I'm, like, forcing two things together, but I'm, like... I feel like I remember seeing a press release about somebody doing the music for Death Stranding, and it including churches.
I think Imagine Dragons might have been Kingdom Hearts 3.
I am like 100% on League of Legends for them. Because like they did, I'm pretty sure that the theme song that they did for Arcane, they wrote for the game. And when I say wrote, I use that term loosely.
Okay, I didn't watch Arcane yet, so...
It's really good, you should.
That's what I've heard. It's just I haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah. The second season may never come out, but... Paul McCartney is another wild card, too. Like...
Yeah, well, with what we have left...
Would he do Fallout 4? He wouldn't do an
the only games on here that even have the budget to have Paul McCartney do anything for them are Fallout, Destiny, and Death Stranding. Since it wasn't Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess League of Legends has the budget, but... I mean, you're pretty sure on that one.
Rock solid on Imagine Dragons for that one. Until Dan tells me that it was Destiny. And I live the rest of my life in disgrace. I'm trying to think if there are any weird tweets that Kojima did where he's like, just had lunch with Paul McCartney.
I mean, that might just be true because
and
that
then put Mads Mikkelsen in fucking Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Did he blow his entire budget, though, on getting Guillermo del Toro and various and other sundry directors to lend their likeness to his game?
Who knows?
I don't know. The game has Conan in it, so... What do you feel about Tekken for Snoop Dogg?
I mean, you could put anybody in that one. I don't know anything about like Tekken's reach or famous fans, I guess.
Nor do I.
Yeah.
I feel like...
I'm gonna save Snoop Dogg for last because I genuinely don't know where to put that man, you know? All right, who do you think did... I mean, would fucking Nine Inch Nails do a song for Kingdom Hearts?
I can give you a hint on the Kingdom Hearts one.
Sure.
Okay.
So, it's an artist that worked with Utada. Like, it's a song that was co-written by somebody and Utada, who did Simple and Clean. And it's pretty much done, like, all the mainline games.
Hey.
Fuck, man.
That did not help at all.
Right?
You want the name of the song?
Sure. I mean, that won't help, but sure.
Face Your Fears.
You said you like 9 Inch Nails for Kingdom Hearts 3?
I don't fucking know, man. I like 9 Inch Nails for a lot of these games, and I don't like anyone particularly strongly for Kingdom Hearts.
I just like 9 Inch Nails.
The fact that it wasn't Paul McCartney threw me for a loop.
Yeah, where does he go?
I kind of want to throw him down onto like Death Stranding or something.
Yeah, I think that's the only other one that he would do. All right, let's put Paul McCartney on Death Stranding.
That works for me.
I'm like, I don't even know like which way is better to like start with the games that work backwards or start with the artists that work to the game.
Well, we were working on Destiny, right?
Yeah. Destiny though could be another one where they take fucking the Kingdom Hearts 3 one is killing me. How do you feel about Skrillex for that one?
I'm fine with Skrillex for that one.
Okay. Man, I like him for Quake too. Though.
Whatever Quake is goes hard. That much I'll tell you.
It's got to be Nine Inch Nails then.
Since it's not Megadeth, that sounds
right.
appropriate.
Yeah, I think Nine Inch Nails has got to be Quake. So we have Churches, Snoop Dogg, Linda Carter left, and then Destiny, Fallout 4, and Tekken. I guess
Linda Carter for Fallout?
Yeah, I mean, you said that earlier. I don't know where else she could fit. So Snoop and Churches for Destiny and Tekken. Okay, where do we think Churches is then?
Whatever's left.
Tekken? You like them for Tekken?
I don't, but let's do it.
Yeah, I don't like them anywhere, actually. I felt real confident about them being in League of Legends, and when they were not, I now have no idea about anything in the world. So, all right, Dan, here's our second list.
Mm-hmm.
You got Megadeth, Duke Nukem Forever, Imagine Dragons in League of Legends, Nine Inch Nails in Quake, Churches in Tekken Tag Tournament 2, Skrillex in Kingdom Hearts 3, Snoop Dogg in Destiny, Linda Carter in Fallout 4, and Sir Paul McCartney in Death Stranding.
Okay. Let me just calculate this real quick.
It's not 10, Timmy.
It is not 10. But
it's 4.
Didn't do too bad. All right, so how are we doing this? Should I do this in alphabetical order?
Sure.
All right. So, Death Stranding was Churches. They wrote the song Death Stranding for Death Stranding. Shock and awe.
I fucking hate myself.
It's okay.
No. You should hate Kojima.
No, man,
We all
I fucking said
should.
I remembered a press release for them doing something in Death Stranding and then nagged myself out of it.
You sure did. Up next, Destiny. I'm going to save that one, actually.
Snoop Dogg.
You are correct. Megadeth did the cover of the Duke Nukem theme song for Duke Nukem Forever.
That's hands down the best part of that game.
It honestly is. By most accounts, it is the best part of that. Linda Carter, a parent jazz musician, wrote, I believe, 4 songs for Fallout 4 and also voices an NPC for the game. So you guys are right with that one. Kingdom Hearts.
She voiced the atom bomb in...
Yeah, that's it.
What is that town called?
Megaton?
Doesn't matter. Anyway.
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts 3 was indeed Skrillex working with Utada on Face My Fears. That's another one there. League of Legends was Imagine Dragons. They wrote the song Warriors for the game.
It sucked ass.
Warriors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think League of Legends was.
I mean, we can get into that at a different time.
For sure.
Right now, I'm ripping Imagine Dragons.
Okay.
Let's see. Quake, you guys are correct. That is 9 Inch Nails. Trent Reznor was a massive fan of the Doom series, wanted to work with id Software, ended up working on Quake. And there's even the 9 Inch Nails logo on the nail gun ammo pickups. Like, they went full on that one. Tekken Tag Tournament was Snoop Dogg. In Tekken Tag Tournament 2, Snoop Dogg wrote the song Knock 'Em Down, spelled with 2 C's on knock for some reason, because I guess it's like cooler.
He's got 2 G's in his name, man.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, 2 O's, 2 G's.
That makes all the sense in the world. Snoop Dogg is even featured in the background of one of the stages in the game.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course he is.
He's like on a throne. It's great. The real oddball, if you guys haven't narrowed it down, is that Sir Paul McCartney wrote a song for Destiny. McCartney wanted to make a song for a video game. He's never done that before and wanted to do something that he knew his grandkids would play. And somehow,
oh my God,
that was Destiny. Part of this is because he was so impressed with the soundtrack from Bungie's previous work in Halo. So he was like, wow, these guys really know what they're doing with music. I want to work with them. And that's how that came to be. So that's 7 points for today. Not bad at all. And in fact, hit the sound effect. Shea.
It's been hit.
you have reached 300 total points.
Wow.
So here's the deal. Fisher will
Okay.
present you with your medal for this one, but I don't have a physical prize for you. And that's because this one is a little bit different. I am willing to pay for a video game related flash tattoo of your choice.
That's awesome.
We can do this when you come back to where you were living previously. I've already talked to my tattoo artist and they are willing to do this for us. So yes, I am thrilled. We like have talked about this a little bit. I kind of picked your brain without you knowing about it, if this is a thing that might be a possibility. So yes, at the time of your choosing, at the place of your choosing, and the design of your choosing, I'm willing to pay for a flash size video game tattoo.
Cool. Thanks, Dan.
You're very welcome. More details on that in the future. Timmy, thank you so much for being on the show yet again. Where can the people find and follow you?
People can find me online at twitch.tv/Ferk03. Streaming's been sporadic at best lately, but I should be back on more consistently in the future.
As for us, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BNGPod, where we post sales that you should be aware of that we call cheap codes, as well as custom artwork for every episode.
If you want to share the show, you can do so with our hosting site, which is anchor.fm/BNGPod. And if you want to follow us on Twitch, where I stream an eclectic collection of games bi-weekly on Saturdays, you could do so at twitch.tv/BNGPodcast. And once those Twitch streams are over, you can catch the VODs at our new YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/@BNGPodcast.
And if you'd like to send us an email for any reason, you can do so at brokeendgamingpod@gmail.com. We love getting game submissions, as well as just any criticisms or comments about what it is that we're talking about. Hey, Shea, now that we're out of our AAA Summer Series, what are we playing next time?
Next time, Dan, it'll be still a familiar title. Oxenfree 2 Lost Signal will be our next episode. So make sure you tune in for that.
This came out during our summer series. I've been waiting to play this for quite a while now. I am very excited. But until then, goodbye, absolutely everyone.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Does Snoop make sense for Destiny?
Snoop makes sense anywhere.
That's
I know,
kind of the
but-
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, like quite literally, like you could tell me Snoop's doing the soundtrack for the new Paw Patrol movie, and I would believe you.
So fucking accurate.
The pups learn about grass.
He plays a drug sniffing dog.
Oh, fuck.
God.
The pups meet Martha Stewart.
Oh man.
She's the real bad influence.
They bust her.
Oh, fuck.